Good morning, the students of class 7. Welcome to our e-learning class. Today I am back with your social science history class, and today I am discussing the rest of the part of your subunit, the administration of the empire. Previous class we have discussed what are the different administrative units of the Chola empires in southern India, and now today we will discuss about the election process and the rest of the administrative measures of the Chola empire, and mainly the village council of the Brahmanas, Brahmadya. How did they select and the village council of the Brahmanas called Sabha? So how did the members of Sabha elected? Today we will know that inscription from Uttarameru district. Uttarameru is a place in Chinglepet district, Tamil Nadu. Provide details about the elections of Sabha. And what was written on that inscription? Let's see. That number one, the Sabha had different committees to look after gardens, temples and irrigation works. They divided the Sabha into different sub-committees, like today's municipality or in Panchayat, the different committees are there. So in this way, that the time also, a group of people looked after the gardens of the villages, some people looked after the temples, some people looked after the irrigation works. Number two, names of these eligible members. How did they elect those members? That names of these eligible members in the Sabha written on a small ticket of palm leaves, and these leaves placed in the earthen pot. What happened then? A young boy was asked, not more than 15 years, asked to pick the tickets one by one for each committee. So a boy was asked to pick the tickets one by one, and in this way they form a committee with those names picked by the boy. So in this way they make 3 committees from the earthen pot. So this is the election procedure of the Sabha. So it is very interesting. Okay, from those inscriptions we have found the qualifications of the members of Sabha on the same inscription found in the Uttaramerur in Chinglepet district in Tamil Nadu. So let's see the qualifications. The number one, that they should have their own homes. So who wants to be the member of the Sabha or those committees? They should have their own homes. This is the number one criteria. Number two, they should be between 35 to 70 years of age, not less or more than that. Number two, they should have knowledge of Vedas. They should be very well versed in Vedas. All the 4 Vedas, Rig, Sam, Yayu, Atharva. And number 4, they should be well versed in administrative matters and should be honest. It's a very important criteria that they should be well versed in all the administrative matters also. Like today's IAS, IPS, IFS officers, they learned all those things, and the examination procedure are very strict, and they learned about all those administrative matters. That time also it is necessary to know all the administrative matters, as well as the person should be honest. Number 5, now what they not had to do, that if anyone has been a member of any committee in the last 3 years, either temple committee or garden committee or irrigation work committee, so he cannot become members of another committee. This is the provision that if they become a committee or member of any of this committee for last 3 years, they cannot contest in election further. And the last one, anyone who has not submitted his accounts as well as those of his relatives cannot contest in elections. They had to submit all the account details, how much wealth they have, how much property they have. Otherwise, they cannot allowed to contest in the elections in the Sabha. So these are the provisions of the and the qualifications of the members of Sabha to become a member of Sabha. And all these things we have found from the Uttarameru inscription found in the Chingleput district in Tamil Nadu. Now, another inscription tells us about the kings and powerful men. Here is an excerpt from the Periya Puranam, a 12th century Tamil work. Periya Puranam was a 12th century Tamil literature. So from this literature we have found that work which informs us about the lives of the ordinary men and women in the Chola dynasty. So on the outskirts, so I am reading from the book, so you will also follow that on the outskirts of Adanur was a small hamlet on Pulayas, a name used for the social group considered outcasts by Brahmanas and Bhelalas. They are actually lower caste people and they are expelled from the society, and they are living outside those villages and towns, and they start with small huts under old thatches and inhabited by agrarian laborers engaged in menial occupations. So most of them lived outside outskirts of those villages and towns, and they lived under the houses they covered with palm leaves, and those thatched houses, and their occupations were agrarian laborers. They helped in the agrarian laborers, and some were also worked at menial occupations like the work of the servant of those upper castes. In the threshold of the huts covered with stripes of leather. And what are the main features of their houses described there? Their houses, their threshold means their doorsteps and door seals also covered with strips of leather. And little chickens moved about in groups. Dark children who wore bracelets of black iron were prancing about, carrying little puppies. Prancing means the jumping with joy, and carrying little puppies. They also carried little puppies. And in the shade of the Marudu tree means Arjuna tree. In the Tamil it's called Marudu tree. And a female laborer put her baby on a sheet of leather. So on a female laborer also, while they were working, just put her baby on or to sleep on a sheet of leather. There were mango trees from whose branches drums were hanging. So from the mango trees, branches of the mango trees, drums were hanging. Under the coconut palms in little hollows on the ground. Under the coconut palms, under the coconut tree, small holes are dug on the soil, and in little hollows on the ground, and tiny headed beeches lay after whelping. The tiny headed beeches, they giving childbirth on those holes, and the red crested cocks crow before dawn, calling the brawny Pulayas. Brawny means powerful, muscular, because they worked as a work of the labor, so they are very much muscular. So when the red crested cocks crowed before dawn, calling the brawny Pulayas, and to their day work, and by day under the shade of the kanji tree spread the voice of the wavy-haired Pulaya women singing as they were husking paddy. They also singing some songs when they husking or selecting, removing the cover of the grains. So this is a beautiful account, and from this account we have known the life of those people who are expelled from the society by the upper caste Brahmans and Velalas. They are Pulayas. So that's all from this subunit. Hope you have understood this chapter. So see you in the next class with the question answers. Thank you for watching.